The Still Loading podcast is brought to you by the wonderful people on Patreon. Amazing people like Parallax Puddles, Pib Extra, Melissa S., Mike from the Old Switcheroo podcast, Ryan K., Matt aka Stormageddon, Kevin from the Bit by Bit Foundation, Doug from Nostalgia Marcanum, Gilmer, Stephen P., and Mr. Biscuits have all been wonderful enough to support the show over there. So if you would also like to get your name read at the beginning of an episode, along with a bunch of other goodies, go over to patreon.com/stillloadingpod and check out everything it has to offer. On this episode of Still Loading, good evening 007, you'll get caught up in the Nightfire!
Gentlemen, I think we nailed it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new episode of the Still Loading podcast. I'm your host, Josh Koval, and today's episode, it is episode 2 of the Road to First Light, 007 Road to First Light. Once again, this is a series in celebration of the upcoming James Bond game, which when I planned this series, it was going to be out in March, and that's normally Mario month, so I was going to do this now and then have, it come out in March and be hunky-dory, but it got pushed back to May, but I couldn't push back this series, so here we are still on a little bit longer of a road to First Light, but we're covering as much of the Bond stuff as we can here over the next couple of weeks. This is week number 2, and the game we are discussing, if you couldn't tell from the title, is James Bond 007 Nightfire for multiple systems. We'll get into all that in just a moment, but I should introduce my wonderful guests for this episode. 2 wonderful returning guests, though it's been a while for one of them. We'll start off with the one who was just on last year for Metroid Prime. I think that was the last episode he was on. It's Chris, aka the British Bond Addict. Chris, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastically, Josh, and I'm really looking forward to doing a bit of a deep dive onto not my favorite Bond game, but one I've probably played the most.
Ooh, if you don't mind me asking then, which is your favorite?
Favorite's GoldenEye 64, and then I put Everything or Nothing above that too. However, I would say I've played this more than GoldenEye 64.
I have as well, and you'll have to wait to hear my opinions on Everything or Nothing next week. It'll be the next episode. But the other returning guest, it's been a minute since he's been on the show. I can't even remember the last time he was on. I think, was he on last year for Mario Month or the Mario Month before? I don't know. Either way, it is Mike Laine from the Switch to the Past podcast. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm great, Josh. Thanks for having me back on the show. I was also trying to remember, maybe
I think it was a Mario Kart episode.
Double Dash. Yes, I believe it was a Double Dash episode. Of course, I am the best person to ask about GameCube games, and if it's if you did a GameCube game, I was probably on for it. Although I wasn't on for Metroid Prime, which Chris was on for. So what's up with that? I'm kidding.
Well, Chris just happened to be there when you weren't. So what do you think of that? I'm just kidding. No, for those who don't know, Mike's podcast, the Switch to the Past podcast, that is a tongue twister, has gone through a handful of different naming revisions and theme revisions. So it was before Unlocking What Was Cool was the name before that, and before that, the show that started you on your podcasting journey with your buddy Neil was the GameCube Was Cool podcast, and hence why Mike's saying he's an expert on the cube, and I had to have you on for this one specifically because I remember listening to your show, and I remember when the GameCube Was Cool ended, I believe, if I remember correctly, Nightfire was your number 1 most listened to episode.
Nightfire is still our number 1 most listened to episode. It is I don't know why it's so popular. It continues to be popular. We continue to get comments on it. We can continue to get messages about it. I think maybe it was just we had a hot take that it's the greatest Bond game and it's better than GoldenEye, and that got people riled up. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but it's probably one of my most proudest episodes I've ever done podcasting, and we're probably going to go back to it at some point because it was a lot of fun to do in the first place, and yeah, coming back to it to talk with you specifically for it is going to be really fun today.
Thanks for that.
Well,
I
you know
appreciate
what?
that. Oh, are you talking to Josh?
Well, you know what? Let's get the hot take out of the just right out the gate. This is the best James Bond game to date, in my opinion. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I don't think it's even close. People will say everything or nothing. I got some opinions on that game, which you'll hear next week. But I think this, bar none, is like the best Bond game that has been released. I'm very excited to see what First Light is. I love IO Interactive, and I'm excited to see what they're able to do with the franchise. But at the time of this recording, and this will be out before First Light comes out, to me, Nightfire is better than GoldenEye. It is the best James Bond game out there to date. But that's, some people also, From Russia with Love is also very popular, I've heard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Russia from Love it focused more on the single player, I think, because the multiplayer wasn't the same. And that was the first third-person James Bond. And it actually featured Sean Connery doing the actual voices at the time. I remember when Neil got that for his birthday, like when it came out in 2005 or something. That was a huge deal because we all loved Nightfire and we all crowded around the TV to watch him play like the story for like hours and hours. It's funny like to think of that being like our entertainment. Like we were just happy to sit and watch someone play games for hours. I mean, I guess that's why Twitch exists.
I hate to, actually, the first third-person Bond game was Tomorrow Never Dies on the PS1.
Fair enough. Yes. Well, we did not have access to PS1, so
that's fair.
Which Chris actually did an episode on with me a couple years ago.
Yes, and I will say, much to the point, while GoldenEye 64 is definitely my favorite because of the very heavy rose-tinted spectacles I have, I genuinely prefer Everything or Nothing for many different reasons. I will say Nightfire is the one game that people who weren't Bond fans played. From Russia of Love was a Bond fan's dream. That was an incredible game. Same with Everything or Nothing. However, everybody I know played Nightfire, and it wasn't because it was a James Bond game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good points.
I'm very excited to dissect all of this with both of y'all. Two huge, obviously, Chris, you are a gigantic James Bond fan. So when I did First Light,
Josh, I've been trying to lose weight. You don't need to phrase it like that.
you are a metamorphic. No, metamorphic. That doesn't even make sense. But yes, you are the biggest Bond fan I know.
Thank you.
Not the weight. When I told you I was doing this, I was like, out of these games that I'm covering, which would be your favorite, or which would be your choice? And you chose Nightfire. Mm-hmm. Now, to be fair, you only had three options. It was Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, or Everything or Nothing. So yeah, I'm excited to go into all of this. Some very, very brief fun facts. I didn't really find a whole lot of information about the development for this. Like I was telling you these guys off mic that I was, today was we had a birthday party for my daughter. So most of my week has been prepped for that. So I didn't have as much time as I would have liked to for research, but some of the stuff I did find, the game, well, this is not something I found. It's just something straightforward. It was released on November 19th, 2002 in North America. It was in development for a little over 20 months. The working title for it was Phoenix Rising. It was originally called James Bond Phoenix Rising, but that later became the name of the fourth mission of the PC version. Now, I'm curious because the PC version apparently is slightly different than the console. It's not like a one-to-one port or anything like that. Like it's a slightly different game. There's less missions in the PC version, so I'm very curious to see. I don't know any of the differences. We are, I guess, to clarify for the listeners, if there's any, for some reason, there's PC fans of PC Nightfire fans. We're only talking about the console version on this one. They used Brosnan's likeness, but they could not use his voice. They used Maxwell Caulfield as the voice of James Bond in this, and the one note I had, because they had a whole bunch of like behind the scenes featurettes that you could watch on the Nightfire game, like when you unlocked it or you did well enough in the game or used a code to get to them type of thing. And the only really bit of fun facts, like I said, they used Pierce Brosnan's likeness in this. They scanned him in, and like they used one of those like big, like 3D scanners to like to scan their face and all that other stuff, and all that. That's interesting enough, but to me, that's fine enough. But I feel like that's something. Well, no shit. Like we're used to that now, so I didn't find that particularly interesting. The only thing I did find interesting was during the behind the scenes video, they made a particular note that they made sure to animate Pierce Brosnan's eyebrows. So when he gives a look, the one eyebrow can go up or not.
Mm.
And I'm like, all right, attention to detail. I like it. And in all honesty, there's only one other fun fact I had, which we'll get to when we dive into the gameplay. But do you guys know any fun facts about this? It's fine if you don't. I'm kind of putting you on the spot right here. We can move on if you don't. But I didn't really find much. Do either of you have any fun facts that you would like to shout out?
I was going to say, Josh, obviously the voice actress doing M is clearly trying to do Judi Dench. Do you know why Q is just a random generic white-haired scientist?
No, I do not.
Because Desmond Llewellyn ended his role in 1999, and Die Another Day, where John Cleese was fully the Q former, was coming out between while this game was being made. So while John Cleese had been introduced as a Q-type character, they didn't know if he'd be a long-staying character, so they had to just go into their vault and do, okay, generic scientist time.
That's interesting.
I could totally see that. Yeah, because this game came out at the same time that Die Another Day released, like on the same date.
Yeah, pretty much. And I could see as well, even though it's EA Sports and obviously Eon, who have relinquished their role, being very tight-lipped about all these things because they didn't want spoilers in any way, shape, or form, they just went for a generic science character, which is why he hardly turns up apart from like Paris Prelude.
Okay. Yeah, he really... Meanwhile, in fucking Everything or Nothing, he shows up every goddamn fourth mission.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, at that point as well. But at that point, they've got full rights. They can even reference Max Zorin and say that Defoe's character is based on him. Like they went ham on that.
They really did. But I got to save my thoughts for that. I apologize. I know you're a fan of it, Chris, but I got to save my thoughts on it for that episode.
That's bizarrely why I picked this episode, because I just knew that Everything or Nothing would be another trademark British Bond Addict rant about how much I love it. This one I have some conflicting feelings, so I figured that'd be a more entertaining listen to your viewers.
So I appreciate that. I appreciate you trying to find the most entertaining angle for my episode.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go into this. I'm going to start off. I went through the story in the Agent Under Fire episode. I don't know how much of the story I want to go through this. I will say the very beginning of this is very much worth talking about, and I'll tell you all why. So the beginning of the game starts off with a cold open mission. Like if you don't have any, it's also cool if you don't have a save file on your memory card. It it jumps you straight into the game, which is really cool. Like it doesn't take you to the menu; it just takes you straight into the game. And it starts off. It's called the Paris Prelude, and you start off basically. You see this beautiful woman driving this sports car, and you are in a helicopter and a sniper rifle. And the level starts also with the classic Bond opening of like the circles going across the screen, and then the gun barrel sliding onto screen, and then Bond shooting at the screen, shooting at you. You're in Paris, like I said, Paris Prelude on New Year's Eve, and you're basically helping this woman out who's being chased by bad guys. You don't quite know why you're helping her. From what I remember, you're just told that you have to you just like have to protect her. He's talking to Q in the helicopter. He's like, I have to get down there, and he's like, patience 007. And you jump into the game, and you're basically just shooting. It's a tutorial mission, so like they give you. It's kind of like a tech demo too at the same time, because like there's a lot of auto aim, and the game literally tells you like, oh, shoot at the tires because you can take out the cars that way, or try shooting at the hood or at the engine so you can blow up the engine. And that's like the only description it gives, like the only reasoning it gives for why you're able to destroy vehicles with like a single shot sometimes. But yeah, so that's like the opening mission. There's a lot of really fun moments in it where like there's like Bond moments of like shooting hooks in a construction yard to drop things on enemies or to create ramps for this woman who's trying to escape whatever this is. And the game then once you do rescue her, which the ending of it is wild too. Like you like she's driving straight down on a street, or no, sorry, the ending of it is wild too because she's driving away, and then Bond just comes down from his helicopter, like like rappels down, picks her up out of the car, and then brings her up to the helicopter at the last minute. It's cuckoo bananas, but it's kind of wonderful. And then his car driving autonomously comes up from behind the bad guys, and I believe Q is controlling it. And he does a little cool thing where, you know, the car jumps up to its side so it can go in between the two cars that were trying to block it off the road, even though it could have easily just driven around on the sidewalk. But that's besides the point. And Bond then drops in on top of it. The hood opens up, or the roof opens up. Bond drops in, and they drive away. And then the second half of the prelude begins, where you have to escape using a driving section, and it's honestly a lot of fun. Like, you're driving around the streets of Paris, you use tons of different gadgets, you're driving like like up through, not just on the streets, but like through like sidewalks and through marketplaces and all that good stuff. And the end of the mission, if I'm remembering correctly, it's been a minute. Hold on, actually I have it up in the background. And so the reason that you're actually even driving in this section, though, is when you land in the car in the first place, Dominique, I believe is her name. Mm-hmm. She says that there is like a car that she's after in front of it, and you can't let it get away. So then you are chasing after it. You catch up, you shoot the electromagnetic, and it stops it because you can't let whatever it is blow up. And then they do like almost like a World Is Not Enough thing where they do like They have like champagne in the car in front of fireworks. Like, it feels very much like I thought Christmas only came once a year. Even I don't think he says that line though. Thank God.
Merry Christmas, Jones.
Yeah, no, it's that and the I've always wanted to come to Turkey for Christmas.
I thought. So yeah, that's the opening prelude. It's a cold open, but what I love about this is that the moment that you beat it, it goes into a song just like you would a Bond movie. And that was the last fun fact that I actually had. I was waiting for it for this moment, is that this is the first James Bond game to not have an original story, but to feature an original song. Like, they treat the game like it's a Bond movie. You have a cold open that leads into a song that then is the prelude for what happens in the rest of the game, like for the plot of the rest of the game. So, and I just fucking love that. But I've been talking a long time about this. I want to throw it over to you first, Mike. Just your thoughts on this opening mission, and then we can go into the game, like more specifics of the gameplay. But I wanted to at least set the stage for the listeners. What are your thoughts on this opening mission and song?
It's funny because as a kid, I hated this. I hated every time I had to play Paris Prelude. Yeah, because I just wanted to get to the real story and stuff. And for me, it was not fun just like being in a helicopter and trying to aim and hit things. Like, I wanted to be driving. I wanted to be like running around, shooting people, because I had played this game at other people's houses before I got it. I think I got it for Christmas, and it had come out maybe a couple weeks before, and some lucky kid got it in November, and so I had to wait a month and a half or something. It's terrible. But so I had seen the gameplay. I had played multiplayer, of course, because this is where this game excels, is the multiplayer, and so I was expecting that. And then when I would have to play this level first, I was like, ugh, let me get to the cool part. So that's kind of, I very vividly remember never liking this this level. But as an adult, I like it because I appreciate that whole side of what you just explained, of like, this is the first Bond game to have the actual song and like the lead up to it. It actually feels like it's a movie. I 100% feel that today as an adult. But as a 10-year-old playing this game, I did not care about any of that. I just wanted to shoot some people.
Chris, what are your thoughts on it?
Sorry, excuse me. As a 9-year-old Bond fan who'd gained sentience on what the Bond franchise meant at this point, especially being a fan of the films and a fan of the games at this point, I remember playing this for the first time and being blown away because, as you say, it feels like a Bond film. The fact it starts off with the gun barrel and it's not ridiculously jank like GoldenEye 64. It actually looks pretty fluid for graphics at the time. going into this whole
Mm-hmm.
level and kind of having a beginning, middle, and end within a level, which is also a tutorial level. It blew my mind at the time. I felt really cool doing it. And then going back, I hated playing it until I realized, like, actually, the whole thing about being a kid, you have like the next difficulty level fear. So I played it on like beginner mode so many times where it forces the gun to the tire for you, so you don't really do any of it. But then playing this back when you're doing the platinum trophies and stuff like that made it so much more fun. But no, that then going into, like, even though it is a original song, the intro line of the "Don't love me quietly," it doesn't sound right without me
Do
mashing
it with intensity.
it doesn't sound right without me mashing the X button to skip past it on the intro of the game.
I know.
So my only criticism of this opening section is I don't like the song.
Yeah,
like,
the song I don't mind. There's certain bits which are very sort of like kind of John Barry-esque in certain ways, which I appreciate. The only bit that got me, and I find it so distracting every time I see it, when Dominique lands in the car for the first time, it does literally look like a strand of her hair is sellotaped to her cheek. Like, you'll see her turn when she looks at James, and like once you've seen it once, you can't unsee it.
Oh God, I need to look at that then. Now I'm not going to be able to unsee it.
Yeah, my apologies, and for all the listeners as well.
It's fine.
I did want to say, you might be getting to this, Josh, but you were mentioning fun facts. I did have a fun fact that I was going to bring up, and again, you might get to it, so I might be spoiling it. But it's the secret race. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Chris, do you know what I'm talking about?
No, just to clarify, you've played this on GameCube and I'm playing on PS2, right?
I played it on both. I played it on PS2. I've also played it on GameCube.
Well, no, because I know the Shelby Cobra, which is the car Dominique is driving. I know that pops up again in one of the Alpine. Sorry, F1 fan, not Alpine. Alpine. I know you can do that in the Alpine level at some point, but I don't know if that's a cheat, right?
Yes, Enemies Vanquished is the level that you can do it in. So if you start the level and then it's like, I think I can actually remember it just off of my memory. I think it's like LRBA up. And that is, you do that, it goes to a cut screen, and then it has the Shelby and the Aston Martin that you are racing against, I guess, someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like this just cheat code race that is in the middle of this game. Which I feel like we don't get that stuff anymore. Like, that was so cool. I remember learning that. That was very much like a schoolyard thing. Like someone being like, hey, by the way, like there's a secret race in Nightfire. And then, a lot of times this is not true or not real, like a Mew in the whatever, the truck, whatever that is in Pokemon. But this one was real. And I remember doing it for the first time and like not having the internet. Like someone wrote it down on a piece of paper to tell me like what the actual cheat code was. And doing it, I was like, I blew my mind, and I showed my cousins, being like, oh, look guys, like I have the secret thing that no one else knows about. So
you just unlocked a memory from over like maybe 2 decades ago, because you're right, it starts like 3, 2, 1, and it is that course, and you have the big circle like part of the lake at the end, and you race with the oh my god, I completely forgotten about that. Good, cool.
Yes, I love unlocking memories.
Yeah, no, because that's the thing, because as soon as you mentioned the race, I was like, race in Paris, I was like, I feel like it's in the snow. Thank you for that. Appreciate that.
You're welcome. Yeah, it's one of my favorite weird hidden things in this game. That's honestly one of the best parts about it. I love that, and I love showing people that too.
I might have gotten to that. I feel like that I have a vague memory of it, but I don't know if that's me fabricating the memory because I want it, or because it actually happened. But that's really cool. And so it's, which mission is this on again?
Enemies Vanquished. So it's when you first drive the Aston Martin, I guess, like in the snow, like that snow level. So not the one where you're driving in the snowmobiles, but in the one that you're driving the Aston Martin.
Okay, because the mission before that is like the rail shooter level, Alpine Escape.
Yeah, it's not the rail shooter; it's the actual driving one. Yeah, and it's like you start. I don't know. I think you need to do it. It's like at the very beginning of the level when you click like pause. I don't think you can do it later on. I forget the whole specifics of it, but yeah, it's in there. Everyone who's listening, go home, do that.
You know what? I might have to do this because I did actually, when I did my replay of this, I did play it on original hardware. So I still have my save file, which means I could go back, pick the level, and give it a shot. Yeah, I love that. That's really cool. So real quick, the story, the rest of the story of this game, like I don't know. Do you guys want to go through this mission by mission, or should we just kind of talk about the story and discuss some of our favorite missions or something like that? I'll leave it up to my guests on this one.
I feel like going through it chronologically and just having a odd opinion point here and there is probably the best call, right?
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So we already did the Paris Prelude. That actual mission, though, because I totally forgot when we were originally talking about it, like what we were getting. It was a nuclear weapon. Just as you do. Dominique, the girl that you're with, the woman you're with, is part of French intelligence, and she is trying to stop a nuclear weapon from a terrorist group during New Year's Eve. You manage to thwart the terrorists. I'm reading this from Wikipedia. I'm not going to lie. It's very concise, and it saves me from doing a lot of ums and ahs. Bond returns. After Bond returns, his M reveals that the missile guidance chip intended for the space defense platform, a new militarized space station built by the U.S., has been stolen, and MI6 suspects the theft is linked to Phoenix International, a company owned by industrialist Raphael Drake. Very Hugo Drax coded, it feels like at times. Hugo, was Drax's first name Hugo, Mike, or Chris, excuse me?
Yeah, Hugo Drax, and that was the same in the books as well.
That's what I thought. I was trying. It's been a minute since I've watched Moonraker, since we did our episode on it like a couple of years ago.
Frankly, Josh, it should be a couple of years before you watch it again.
You know what? I might just watch it tonight just for that. I'm just kidding. So yes, is owned by industrialist Raphael Drake, and the head of Drake's Asian division, which sounds vaguely racist, Alexander Mayhew, is due to bring the chip to him during a party in his castle in Austria. And that is the setting for the second mission, which is called The Exchange. In this mission, I actually enjoy quite a bit, but before I go off on what I like and dislike about it, Chris, I'm going to throw it over to you. What are your thoughts on this mission?
Thoughts on the mission overall? It's pretty cut and paste thing. Big, powerful person has big thing that other people want. Big person gives the opinion that they're going to use it for good, but actually they're using it for evil, and there's only one person who can stop it, and they're incredibly handsome and a spy. The overall thing's cookie cutter, but you got to realize there's so many different things about video games which I think might be a precursor for younger audiences to different media. And I think having one like this, where maybe the younger audiences can watch a Bond film and go, "Oh, this kind of feels similar. This kind of feels like, oh, I get the overall arc and idea of the film." And especially with the Bond films at the time, when you've got we've had Carver in Tomorrow Never Dies using media to take over the world. We've had Elektra trying to use nuclear missiles to take it over. It matches the films at the time perfectly, and I think it's why I enjoyed this game quite so much, because it felt like I was actually playing a film. Like, the cinematography aspects of this are fantastic, and I think that's a deliberate move by them.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I will say though, I think while the plot is generic, and I think all the Bond games, in all honesty, have either the generic plots or the most "dear God, what is wrong with you? How much cocaine did you do?" type of plots. Like, it's never anything in between. This game has like a very generic plot, but I think the missions are really well done. Like, this mission, I think, is incredibly fun. Part of it is I love old FPS jank, but good FPS jank. And what I mean by that is, if you know how when you land in this, because you land kind of just outside on the outskirts of the castle, and you have to kind of work your way in. There's two different paths you can take. You can either just go up the driveway, or there's actually a path off to the right, which I always forget about. You climb up this tower, this tower gate, and then you can hop off to the side and go down a mountain and then sneak up from underneath. It's really cool. But
Sorry, just to interject, you can also jump in the back of the truck and sneak in that way, right?
I forgot. I don't know if I knew that, actually.
That's my preferred way of entry, because the truck takes you, and if you hide well enough, it takes you deliberately into the cellar, and you can then infiltrate from there.
I think I did do that. It's been so long since I've played this. Holy shit. I'm going to have to replay this whole game now. There's so many things that I'm just like, oh yeah, you could do that. I forgot about that. What I was going to say real quick about the jank though was you get a sniper rifle early on, and that's really handy. And if you're going right up the road, because you can take out the enemies from afar. But if you don't want to waste that sniper ammo, you can, as long as you're within a decent distance, not crazy long distance, but just like I would say like medium at best, some far enough where the enemy still can't see you, even if you're like out in the open. You zoom right in on the enemy with your sniper rifle, and especially if they're stationary, you could technically do this when they're not stationary, but you have to have a lot better luck, a lot more luck and like skill on your side. But if they're stationary, you zoom in right for their head, and then you swap over to your pistol, which you have a ton of ammo for, and there's no difference. Like there's no range difference. You could just shoot right there, and because as long as you don't touch the joystick to move where you're aiming, the reticle, like your crosshairs will still be on that dude's head, even though you can't even see it anymore because you're so far away. And then you just shoot. You don't use any of your sniper ammo, and you insta kill a dude. It's crazy.
That's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just laughing because I'm remembering that I did the exact same thing.
The thing I always loved was trying to get as many people where like it's a great gameplay mechanic. If you sneak up to them, you can take their gun and subdue them in a separate way.
Yep.
Like that's like the thing. Like granted, there's some jank. There's also some deliberate gameplay in this, which is really phenomenal.
Oh yeah, I meant the jank in this as a compliment. Like a lot of times, jank is like bad. It's the game doesn't work as intended. This it feels like you're kind of breaking the rules they intended a little bit, just a smidge, and I kind of like that.
It's like the scene in From Russia of Love where M gives Bond a sniper rifle. He aims it up perfectly, then switches and uses his PPK, and he's like, "Bond, that's brilliant." So it's actually a film reference.
People are going to believe you. You said that so convincingly.
Me when I spread misinformation on the internet.
Bond misinformation. I was going to try to think of a clumsy portmanteau of Bond and misinformation, like bisminformation. It just didn't work. Anyway, that was a bad joke. Let's move on. So yeah, you do infiltrate the party, and he meets with Agent Zoe Nightshade, who, if you remember, was a character from the previous game, the one that spoiler alert for Agent Under Fire, you think she dies in the beginning of that game, turns out it's her twin her evil clone that gets blown up. And
is that true?
That's true.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's her clone, and then you find out at the end of Agent on Fire, hey, surprise, she's still alive. And you know how she convinces Bond that she's a good guy? Oh, that was just my clone. And he goes, okay, and that's it.
Makes sense to me.
Doesn't question a single thing. Doesn't question was she the original that got destroyed, that got killed, and the person that he's with is actually the clone. But either way,
Josh, you forget a major plot point of many Bond films is I'm innocent, I'll sleep with you, and then Bond goes, okay.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I was going to say.
Also, I will say, during the process, you find out about a character later that you meet here, and when you introduce that character, Josh, I wanted to discuss my name for him, because it took me a solid 3 or 4 minutes of thinking very hard about it.
You mean like what? Like a name you gave him, or something that we did in Still Bonding with like the alternate names?
Oh, I did this all by myself and stuck it on the fridge afterwards too.
Okay, all right, fair enough. You meet with CIA agent Zoe Nightshade, which you met from the previous game, who is his contact who was sent to assist in the chip's recovery. But to his surprise, Dominique, the woman from the prelude, is also there, and she is undercover as Drake's mistress. After reaching the meeting room where Drake and Mayhew intend to meet, Bond overhears the men discussing a project codenamed Nightfire. Before discovering that Zoe has been captured, Bond recovers the chip before going to rescue Zoe, whereupon they make an escape down the mountain. Now, the escape down the mountain takes up like 2 levels. That's what's crazy, because you have the Alpine escape, which is mission 3, and then enemies vanquished, which is mission 4. But there is more to the mission number 2, the exchange, because after you do sneak into the castle, then you can either choose to go in guns blazing, you can choose to sneak around. I will give this game credit where in Agent Under Fire, it felt like all the stealth sections were bad. Like it felt very forced. Like there was times where you would try to sneak up and an enemy would see you immediately. In Nightfire, you do actually like sneak up. Like there is actual stealth in this game, and they give you options for playthrough. I do think they vastly improved on their stealth mechanics, because there's actually a full mission like Night Shift, which is basically a stealth level. I mean, you can go in guns blazing and still be fine with it. But the intention of it was stealth, and you can see it even here back in the exchange. Though the ending of the exchange is really wild because Bond escapes and like you can choose to be silent once again or go guns blazing. Excuse me. I do believe at some point you're going to have to go out guns blazing. Like you can't stealth your way through it entirely because the end of the mission has you on a ski lift with Zoe Nightshade, and you are having to shoot a rocket launcher at a helicopter. But it introduces my favorite goddamn weapon out of any first-person shooter I've ever played. I think it's called the Sentinel. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a Sentinel. Okay, and it's a rocket launcher that goes into first person. Like you control it, you remote control the rocket, and holy shit, that blew my mind when I was a kid. I'm like, what? I could just have the rocket go where I tell it to. It's not just like random or like targeted on. I can actually like guide it around and fly it around. I mean, it does leave you vulnerable if they're shooting at you, but still really freaking cool. And that's the first time you see it in the game.
Oh, and it's also the most important gun in any multiplayer session you ever play of this game.
Yes. Oh my God, is it? It's so much fun.
I will say, Josh, I'm going to do my nickname. So the pilot of the helicopter is a guy called Rook, right?
Oh, yes. That's the henchman, right? Yes.
Yeah. And I think we should refer to him forever as Dwayne the Rook Johnson.
I also thought that when I was a kid. I also I was like, is this Dwayne Johnson? Is this The Rock?
I'm
glad I'm not the only one.
Oh my gosh, Dwayne! I can't even speak.
Oh, I like Drain the Rook Johnson.
Drain the Rook sounds like an innuendo. It sounds like you have to go pee.
Oh, seeing as an entire part of your Bond things was making up the new Bond girl name, I think that's entirely appropriate.
Drain the Rook Johnson.
Drain the Rook Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson has to drain his Rooks Johnson. What?
I love the what at the end of the ridiculousness of the sentence you just said. What?
Mike, I haven't given you a chance to comment on this mission. Chris and I have gone on for a bit about what are your thoughts on the exchange?
I mean, it's probably my second favorite mission.
Okay.
Night Shift is my favorite, and we'll get into that when we talk about Night Shift. But the exchange is just such a perfect intro to this game. It basically has everything that is going to be in this game at some point. It has you're using your laser, you're using your grapple, you're using the Sentinel. It's probably maybe the longest mission when you're on foot. Maybe chain reaction is longer, but it's quite a long mission. There's a lot of parts to it. I do what Chris does. I jump into the back of the wine cart delivery truck and I get in that way to get my little Bond gold thing that comes up to show that I did a cool thing.
This game has Bond moments just like Agent Under Fire does. I like these Bond moments more personally, but sorry, continue.
Yeah, no. It's one of my favorite things is to try and find these Bond moments and see like what's, what classifies as a Bond moment. I think there's that one, and there's using the grapple to go over head of the snowtroopers, I think is one of the other ones. But I mean, that's also, I love Snowblind as a location in multiplayer. So it's the other reason why I love that area. Any snow area in James Bond, like snow, ski, I feel that just like there's something about that, especially early on in a Bond film or in Bond game. It feels right. So this is one of my favorites. I love the exchange. I love the Sentinel.
Mm-hmm.
I love killing Rook. Although I always try and punch, you guys have probably done this, especially as kids, but like when you go into the party and you're not allowed to punch anyone, and of course the first thing you do is punch somebody and you get found out. That's what I would do all the time. Or you can break the vases too. You can break, there's in one of the areas, there's like by the window. Oh yeah, you can also punch out the windows and make glass smash, and you can punch the vases and make them smash, and people look at you.
Yeah.
But they won't. But it doesn't sound the alarm, right? You can just
yeah.
I know.
There's just a guy at a party breaking windows. No big deal.
I know if you do certain things, you get disparaging comments, and I would never do something like this, but a friend of mine did it and told me all about it. If you take the camera and zoom into a ample part of a woman, they say disparaging.
Yes.
They say what? Sorry,
I do remember that.
They say disparaging comments about your behavior. That's what my friend
As is deserved.
His words,
Your
not
friend
mine.
should
Do
be
you
ashamed of
mind?
himself.
I would never. I'm gay, so
Well, you should really tell Mel.
yeah, good point.
It's funny. So the I'm sorry, Mike, do you have any other thoughts on this opening, technically first real mission of the game outside of the Paris Prelude?
No, and let's go to the next one.
All right. So the next two missions are the escape from this exchange, from this castle. It's the first is called Alpine Escape, and you basically get into this armored snowmobile with a giant mounted machine gun on the back, and honestly, it's a pretty decent rail shooter section. It's a lot of fun. I kind of miss first person shooters that do stuff like this. Something that when I was playing all of these Bond games in preparation for this series, I touched on it a bit in the Agent Under Fire episode. Actually, not even a bit. I talked about it a decent amount. I miss when FPSs would be creative with their levels and genres. Like they didn't stick to just first person shooters. Like this is technically a first person shooter level because you are in a first person, viewpoint and you're shooting, but it's a rail shooter at the same time. And also then you have obviously the vehicle sections and the stealth sections, and like I feel like for a while FPSs have been, Call of Duty clones or just Doom clones, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I enjoy both of those equally, but I do kind of miss the era of FPSs that would just change up the gameplay style pretty significantly from mission to mission. So I enjoy this mission quite a bit. What do you guys think, though?
I'll say it's a fun little interlude, but I find the next two levels after such a phenomenal opening, second to opening level, very forgettable. These were my least replayed. Same with some of the later, like there's a couple of other vehicle levels. I don't know what it was. I think it's the same thing that we've been saying previously so far. I just way preferred just, actually doing the shooting bit, doing the stealth bit. These bits seemed a bit gimmicky in the end to me.
I definitely agree with the Alpine Escape one being gimmicky. I think that one is more. I mean, Enemies Vanquished for me was like just. I think the cheat code helped that to make it really cool. But I feel like rail shooters are cool, and I definitely agree with you, Josh. Like it's cool that Nightfire was able to incorporate so many different game elements. But after a while of playing it, like I feel like I can't replay that level very often. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do think that both this and the next one, the Enemies Vanquished level mission 4, I do think that I kind of agree with you. They can be gimmicky. I still enjoy this just because it's a change of pace. That's what it appeals to me. I do think that sometimes these levels are a little bit too long. They overstay their welcome.
Mm-hmm.
Alpine Escape, I don't think is so much. From what I remember, Enemies Vanquished is like surprisingly long level. But I could,
yeah, because it keeps going on after you go through the town or whatever. Obviously, I'm trying to smash as much stuff as I can, and then it's like once you've gotten onto the ice area, like you jump over the bridge and you're in this icy area. That one takes a long time. It takes you a while to get to the end part where you're shooting the helicopters and you're getting these helicopter missiles that are on the ground in the ice.
and
I feel like the cool part
too.
is you're timed as well. Yeah. The cool part is like going through the town and stuff. And once you're just in this icy landscape trying to avoid these snowmobiles trying to kill you, like it does go on for a while.
It gave me the opinion that they kind of knew what was going to be happening in Dawn of the Day with the huge like ice chase in an Aston Martin Vanquish. So I'm kind of like, they're playing up to this because it's the most modern Bond film that's coming out. But then why would they not share about what Q looked like? It's kind of conflicting in my mind. Like, was it just pure luck they had an ice car chase in the most recent game, or was that some like insider trading information going on there?
I don't know. That's a good question. I could see both. It is strange. It almost makes me think that they knew because they knew what was ever in promotional materials, and a lot of times which car is going to be in a Bond movie before the Bond movie comes out, type of thing. So I wouldn't be surprised if they like kind of planned it beforehand. Like they all they knew was like some of what like the gadgets and some of the stuff that was going to be in the movie, not necessarily maybe not even the gadgets, but like they knew whatever was in the promotional material. I think that's, to me, that's what it would be, but we don't really know for sure. So the next mission, after they have successfully escaped from that castle, after those next two missions, so after that mission, Mayhew contacts the guy, Mayhew, who is the guy who Drake was meeting with in the castle for that chip, contacts MI6 and is going to offer information on Drake's operation in exchange for protection. Bond is then sent to Japan to extract Mayhew at his Japanese estate. But shortly after being introduced to his bodyguard Kiko, Drake's men attack the building and Mayhew is killed. Bond finds important information that leads him to Phoenix's Tokyo offices and a nuclear power plant being decommissioned. So he gets information here. Those the Phoenix's Tokyo offices and the power plant being commissioned are the two missions after this. We are currently in the mission number 5, Double Cross, which is where we're going to meet Mayhew in Japan. And they get the information you get from that takes us to mission 6, which is Night Shift, the Tokyo office, and mission 7, the nuclear power plant, which is called the mission is called Chain Reaction. In Double Cross, like I said, though, we are in Japan and we are meeting with Mayhew, and you meet his bodyguard Kiko. And, man, sometimes it's a little frustrating how pervy the developers are. There are so many down the shirt shots. Like, listen, I understand Bond is he gets the girls and all that other stuff, but sometimes it's just like, I get it. Like, every woman that Bond encounters somehow is well endowed and beautiful. Like, and then you have to show everything. I don't know. It gets under my skin after a while. I know this game is from 2002, so I shouldn't be that surprised. But it is, I don't know. It gets under my skin after a while. After every woman that you meet, you have to get like a cleavage shot of it, and it's really just, I don't know. It bothers me after a while. It just feels annoying.
As somebody who understands the massive pitfalls of many Bond films, we're at the point of transition where we're going from Brosnan, who has been much the collaboration of all of his peers before him, and I think it's trying to represent the media at that time. When Casino Royale came through, there's a shift, and I think also like PC really like kicked into that time. Even though I say this is a game primarily played by kids, I mean, they're still kind of using the source material for it, which is not an excuse per se for the very pervy developers. But I guess that's why they figured they had an excuse to do it on every character all the time.
But even in Brosnan's Bond movies, it was not this egregious. Like it had it. I'm not denying it. I'm not denying it happened more often than it should. But like,
I'm sorry, I will say, contrary to that point, the director of Die Another Day said that Halle Berry splashing out of the ocean they filmed in slow motion because it was a longer time to look more visually appealing whilst winking at the camera. That was Lee Tamahori, who, as we know, is not exactly the greatest director of all time. So make of that what you will.
No, I still think that the work they made Halle Berry do in that movie is atrocious. I don't blame her for her role in that movie. She had the worst script she could have been possibly given. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day.
I would say, I think as well, I'd say that this is a game that feels like it's almost stuck in the 70s. Like it feels like, as you say, looking back on this, certain parts feel ridiculously dated.
Extremely so. But so you are talking to Mayhew, Drake's men attack, and then you have to lead him out of his house. You have to save him. I believe, though, I forget. Do you guys? He gets killed here, but I don't remember. Does it happen at the very end of the mission? Like
very end, Ninja comes and kills him, and then you have to face Ninja.
I love how casual it was. Oh yeah, he dies, Ninja. You know.
Yeah, you know, it's just a ninja, which is always the hardest AI bot, by the way. It was always tough when someone put ninja in, you're like, oh,
I remember
it's going down.
I remember as a kid playing this. I played as a ninja in multiplayer because I figured I'd be as hard to kill as a ninja, and this was no.
You know what? That logic isn't bad though. I don't blame you for that logic. Sorry, Mike. What were you going to say?
I'm just gonna say that, like, yeah, this was kind of the point of the game where it separated the boys from the men. You know, this was very much like, oh, you kind of need to know how to play this game at this point. Like, you could get by the rest of the game with just kind of knowing how to play a first-person shooter, but once you've gotten to this level, there's some instances in here because, for one, it's a long level. You have to survive a lot of it with people constantly shooting at you because you can't really stealth your way completely through it. And Ninja is an extremely hard boss to face, especially if you have low health and did not bring the right gun to that fight, because that happens where you just have like the pump, the shotgun, which is awful. I hate that gun. Give me the Raptor 50 so I can actually hit somebody with it.
Well, I think as well, the issue is this game also has its first completely unfair mission points. Like when you're crawling across the ropes and the electricity harms you, but it takes away your immediate health, not your body armor. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even. I don't even know if I realized that. I think I don't. Yeah, I don't think I even noticed that. You're right, though. I like now that I'm thinking about it, there'd be times where I'm like, I don't remember getting hit. Why is my health lower?
Yeah, the thing is, as somebody who tried to get the platinum in every single level, if you get hit by one of those once, then you can't finish the game on less than 100% health, or you don't get platinum. And it was such a pain in the ass.
I will also a con for this level too, and some of the other levels, but this one I feel especially is the lighting in here. I cannot see a damn thing, and I know that's like kind of intentional, but even the parts that I'm not supposed to put the night vision goggles on, I'm like, I still can't see.
Oh, I thought you were going to compliment the lighting. I actually like the lighting in this.
Oh,
like it's very
no,
moody.
I hate it.
As somebody who's talking as a fellow platinum collector, great when you're just going for bronze or silver. When you're going for platinum, it's the biggest pain in the ass.
Thank you. Exactly. You got it. And I'm only I only see this game now through the platinum collector eye because I've tried to do that so many times.
I'm just a filthy casual. I just played it as is.
That's why you brought us on. That's why we're here to inform. To inform and criticize.
But yeah, so like this mission I enjoy quite a bit. I honestly I like most of the missions. There's one mission that I despise, and I'll get to that when we get to it. But yeah, this one was just a lot of fun for me, just because I enjoyed being able to sneak around the rooftops and like go. There's secret passages and all this cool stuff. Like I really enjoyed that. But yeah, other than that, it's just I like the overall like layout. Like I think the level is really like fun to explore. It just I don't know, it just works for me. I like the lighting, I like the level layout, I like the mission idea of just having to fight your way out after Drake's men is coming after you. It's great. And every time I say Drake, I think it's Nathan Drake, and I'm expecting, and I'm like, wow, when did Nathan Drake become a bad guy? I mean, but he did murder a bunch of people, so I guess it's not that surprising.
But for artifacts, I will say the one thing that detracts from
how
level,
British of them.
Yeah, I know, right? I will say the one thing, like I love that, as you said, level design, the underground tunnels, like the fact you have to like to get 007 moments, you got to go across like telephone lines, that sort of thing. I hate saving all of the geishas because it's just every cutscene is one you're like, as a kid, I was like, I hope my mom doesn't walk in. Skip.
I also though
I would kill them sometimes.
I'm not a fan of any of the hostage rescue stuff because it's the way at least it does it in this level is that there's one enemy guarding the hostage. So even if there's another enemy in the room, if you shoot the right one, it'll say, hey, you freed the hostage, even though there's clearly another dude blasting away, which I found just odd. But that also then leaves you with the problem that if you don't shoot the right one, the other one, the one that you were supposed to shoot, kills the hostage, and then you have to start all over.
No, it's still better than GoldenEye 64, where while you're shooting the guy holding the hostage captured, he runs in front of your train of fire and you shoot him in the face.
I thought the exact same thing.
Just another reason why this game is better than GoldenEye.
I will bite my tongue, sir.
Oh, I know it's your favorite, but it's still not better.
Well made.
It's interesting how the internet has actually kind of changed that, because I do remember like if I said that 10 years ago, I would get like eviscerated for that opinion. But now saying that Nightfire is objectively better, like in today, I rarely get people really fighting back. They're like, "Yep, yeah, you're probably right."
And
It's just like it's the argument's changed.
yeah, agreed.
So the next two missions, and I'm going to start off throwing it over to you first, Mike, is Night Shift,
Yeah.
which is where you because you said that was your favorite mission. In Night Shift, the basically the only story beats is that you're exploring Phoenix's Tokyo offices, and Kiko, who was the bodyguard for Mayhew, who was working with you at the end of the mission because you thought she was mad that Drake killed Mayhew. Turns out that she was working for Drake, and she turns on you and she turns on you and brings you to Drake, who also exposes that Dominique, who that he knew Dominique was also spying, and
sorry,
he
Josh,
tries.
You're getting ahead of yourself, I think.
No, this is all on the mission, I thought. Or is that in the next mission?
No, it's Phoenix Fire.
I think that's in the.
Oh, they're just jumping ahead then. Okay, let's.
No, because in this one, you infiltrate and you find Dominique in the helicopter and you realize something's afoot.
Yeah.
Then you do chain reaction, you dig slightly deeper. Kiko betrays you there, drugs you, takes you to the beginning of Phoenix Fire where something happens to Dominique. Spoilers not included.
Okay. Well, Mike, I'll throw it over to you to talk about Night Shift.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Chris, for jumping in there and clarifying. Yeah, because I was gonna say like there's not really much story for this one, which maybe one of the reasons I liked it. Like the cutscenes are quite short. You don't really know necessarily. Not much is being added on to the story. You're just infiltrating the offices. This is such a cool level because it was unlike anything I had played since. Like when I played this game, I had never played really any stealth game before. This was the first, I guess, real stealth mission I'd ever done. And it blew my mind. And now I love stealth games, Deus Ex, Hitman, of course, Thief. Like I love stealth games now because of this level. It drew me to that. And like the fact that you start off with a dart gun, the fact that there's so many different ways to stealth the mission. Chris was mentioning it before with like going up behind someone with a gun and making them surrender, punching them out. There's the music in this level too is quite different from the rest of it. It's just like really calming almost. It's you're doing like a very light touch. You're trying to make as little noise as possible. There's always a helicopter though around you, and you're like, oh, when's it gonna start shooting at me? Because I sometimes it shoots at you when you're near a window, and that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm trying to think of like anything specific though that I really loved. I think just the fact that you can do the mission completely stealth and technically no one can actually see you is an option. And this is really the only one that I can consistently platinum. I actually put this on our Instagram when we were covering the game. I put just having me platinum it, and I think I did it in like 4 minutes, which I was pretty proud of. So yeah, it's on the Instagram if you want to see it.
I've got to double down.
Chris.
I've got to double down on your comments. Yeah, there's something about this level that makes me love and crave stealth games, especially in Bond games. Like I've tried stuff like Hitman where you can do stealth, and I find myself eventually just getting kind of bored. With this, I can't say how many times I played this level to get that perfect stealth rating. And there's something so satisfying about all of it. Like especially when you drop into the room through the grate and you get the 007 moment for it. Like having tried to figure that out for so long. No, there's something about this that made me love stealth games and gives me so much hope for First Light. But you're absolutely right. This was my moment playing this as a kid, and like I love stealth. You are absolutely right about that.
It's
nice.
I think your comment on the Hitman game. So I've only played the Hitman trilogy, the recent trilogy, not the original games. Mm-hmm. But I can see what you're saying, Chris, because as much as I love it, that game, because there are so many moving pieces and in each level in that game, it by nature of it, like you have to let things play out in real time, and that can be very tedious. Mm-hmm. And this, because it's a linear level, like you don't have multiple paths. Let me put it this way: you have multiple ways you can approach the level, but the path is linear. Versus in Hitman, it's not only is there multiple ways to approach it, there's also multiple paths and multiple ways within those paths, and like there's a whole lot. So in this, I think it works really well because you can either go in guns blazing or you can go in stealth, but they also design the level in a way to make you like genuinely feel like a spy. There's a lot of like dimly lit rooms.
Mm-hmm.
It feels very much, if honestly, it reminds me of like a little bit of Die Hard, and I mean that as a compliment, even though I know Die Hard's not really a spy movie. It's a balls to the wall action flick. But you know, like the high rise building, the sky view, I like, it's very evocative. It feels like a heist a little bit too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you're doing. Like, they do such a great job of evoking that emotion, even though it's, you know, Bond games really aren't known for that type of thing. Like, they're known for action. And I think this game was a really cool thing, like a really cool way to like bring stealth into it without actually like feeling like it's a completely different game. Like, it still feels like Nightfire. It still feels like a James Bond game.
Well, the thing is that it feels like it's more working with the gamer, because trial and error in Hitman, for example, you can do trial and error 16 times and learn nothing. Every time you do trial and error in this, you learn something, and that helps you feel more complete when you're getting towards the end of the level.
I mean, if you're doing trial and error in Hitman and you learn nothing, I would say that's more about you, because I usually learn something on all my mistakes with it. But not
you
to
do,
be a
but
dick.
not in the same way. Like, I totally get what you're saying, because yeah, like you very much are like, okay, this is the way I have to do it. Like this is I've learned that this vent is here, and I went down too quickly. Okay, now I'm gonna have to go down, get the grenade launcher. It's just every playthrough is like very much like you've learned something new and it's completely changed how you're going to play it. I totally get that.
Yeah, I think, and I think as well, to your point, Josh, that because it's more linear, you got less advantage you can take. With Hitman, for every single one thing you notice, there's 16 things you can do wrong about it.
Yeah, there is so many. There's so much variation in Hitman, and this is just straightforward. But I do still. I really like it, and know what it reminds me of, and this is a compliment. It reminds me of The World's Not Enough on N64. There's a mission where you're escaping Electra's villa in that game, and that was one of the first times I ever played like a stealth mission, because that mission I was so bad at. Like, if you got caught, you failed.
That's that's night shift, right?
I believe so. Yes. And at first I hated that mission. I despised it. And then once I figured out like what it wanted me to do and how it wanted me to play, I fell in love with it. And I feel like this level. Wait, hold on. What was it? You said what? It's not Night Shift. This is Night Shift. What was the one?
I thought it was
in the.
Oh, I've got them confused. Oh yes, you're right. Yeah, this is Night Shift. It's got a very similar name, at least in the PS1 one. I didn't get that far in the N64 one, but it's a similar sort of thing where you're right. It's you're escaping while the entire thing is like on lockdown at nighttime.
I believe it's called Night Watch.
Oh, and I got half of it right.
Yeah, I believe it's called Night Watch. That level was awesome. I very much love that level, because you start off in like Electra's balcony, and then you have to or in Electra's villa, and you have to like sneak down and go to like security offices and destroy like videotapes, and it's fucking cool, or turn off security systems. And this level, Night Shift, very much feels similarly. Any final thoughts on Night Shift before we move over to Chain Reaction?
No, I mean, my favorite level, like great, and then Chain Reaction. Sniper time.
I will say, I love that we've gone from your favorite level into Chain Reaction, which is my favorite level.
All right. Well, Chris, why don't you kick off Chain Reaction?
So Chain Reaction, like it's big infiltration, and you're now really, as a gamer, adapting to the mechanics here. The reason I love this level so much is because you have to really be a sniper in this level to make it work. And the thing about FPS is I always love doing snipe, like when it's like stealth snipers. Yeah. And this one is a perfect part of it. You're going to Drake's radioactive plant, and basically you've got enough of a hunch now that you're trying to figure out and find evidence for it. And it's this wonderful level. It's this huge expanse with these massive nuclear towers. And it's all about kind of like, listening to the radios of the enemies, and then finding your way across this massive plant using, massive rope wires, sneaking into places, like going through grates, all this sort of thing. I just love it as a level personally because it's so wide and expansive, and you can snipe somebody from what feels like over half the map away. And if you're good enough with the controls, you can make it work in such a way that your gameplay is not, stifled or disadvantaged because of it. It's the biggest one for trial and error, where you can try so many different things to try and make it work. For example, there can be 3 enemies and there's a specific order to kill them, and it's almost down to you to figure it out. And then it ends in a fantastic action sequence. So again, I just love this level. I love the music they choose for this is so atmospheric, and there's certain moments where you feel like you are hanging off a massive rope like 200 feet in the air. It's incredible.
I am very much with you on this. I as a kid, I really enjoyed like sniper missions. So like I was always, anytime I got a chance to do a sniper mission, like I ate it up, and this is very much is in that same vein. I also am crazy impressed with the scope of this level. It is huge, absolutely huge. Like so much, like the geography is just astounding. Like it, and I think they like it's clever how they designed it, because it's a lot of very simple polygons and very simple shapes. So even though it's a massive level, they designed it in a way that it's not visually boring, but they designed they smartly used the limitations of the PS2 to their advantage, in that, like, yes, this is a big level, so we can't cram it full of complex like things with like lots of polygons and this and that. So a lot of the level is these giant spires of nuclear silos and stuff like that, just round, like just cylinders or square buildings. And there's stuff on the ground and everything that to make it a little bit more interesting, but like overall, like it's a pretty I don't know. It's fucking huge. I'm just blown away by how massive this level is. I do remember struggling with it though on my replay. So there's like 2 halves to it. Like the first half is like, you start off at the top on the roof of a factory and you can take out as many guys as you want. Then you go into the factory to get out, and then you walk across like this, like courtyard or whatever, not really a courtyard, but like a yard with all the nuclear silos around, and then you have to go into another warehouse to get up. And then once you get out of that second warehouse, you come out to the section that I died the most in for this level, not for the game. We're going to get to the level I died the most in pretty soon. But it's like, there's like a fire escape that's leaving out, and there's just snipers everywhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it drove me up the
I
wall.
died in that area a lot. Yeah. That was, I mean, that goes back to the trial and error though, because this is another level that is very much like you immediately die, you learn where you died from. Now you have to take out that sniper. Someone else kills you. Okay, which is the order in which I take out these snipers? And then as you go through, you have your order. And even today, I know exactly, when I start this level, I was playing it today. When I start this level, I know exactly where to go. I go, the guy on the far right first, guy on the far left, middle guy, use the lasers, open up the little vent, go down there, start off. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I think as well, for certain things, because you have the kind of like introduction to the episode, for want of a better phrase, with the wide open expanse and what to look for when it comes down to it, and you've also got the radio messages, like when you're trying to do a perfect run for platinum and you hear one of the radio people say, "I've got you," like, I see him. Yeah, that's like moment. I will also say on the radio messages, when you're like, slaughtering this like massive group of people, I swear somebody says, "Stop it." And it's like, oh, I might just kill Matt, who's James's best friend. I feel bad about that. But no, the entire episode, as you say, the scope of it, and I will say in benefit to the PS2 graphics, because the PS2 from the PS1 felt like such a step up. When you're far away from the silos and it's got that kind of mist in front of it, it looks massive. I remember being blown away for graphics as a kid when I watched this. It gave, like, I'm sure in the grand computing sequence, it's actually not that far. But for me as a kid, it looked like it was huge and far away, and that's impressive in itself.
Graphics were never going to get better than this.
Oh,
this
exactly.
Was it.
That's why I love the Wii so much.
So the end of this mission is what you're talking about before, Chris. Kiko betrays you and takes you to Drake. You have dinner with Drake on top of his Tokyo offices again, and he reveals that he knows that Dominique is a secret agent as well, and kills her. Not him specifically. Kiko fucking kicks her off the building.
Yeah. This is one I
And
remember. This is one I remember on the schoolyard because I was like a week behind my friends who got this like slightly before me, and I had the first like I think ever real life spoiler that I was actually affected by when I like, oh, Dominique dies, and I'm like, what, really? And when I saw it happen, I was like, oh crap, that's like part of me's like, oh, she'll come back somehow, and I'm like, no, she's falling to the ground at a phenomenal pace.
And then you learn it's a Bond game, and there'll be many more girls where that came from.
That's Bond.
Yeah.
Well, I think what frustrates me about her death is that it's so like, I don't know, man. It doesn't feel deserved. Like I'm not talking about like I understand why he would kill her. She's a secret agent, but like it's the way he does it. It feels so unceremonious. Like it feels like, oh, that she just gets kicked off and like that's it. Like you don't see a dramatic shot of Bond going no or something, like just nothing.
I'd say bizarrely for someone who studies children's education a lot and knowing how things work, because it was so quick paced makes it more impactful for the attention span that is shorter than the average person. The fact it happens so quickly and seems so final actually makes it more certain, as opposed to if you built up to it. Of course, we're looking at films from an adult's point of view and games an adult's point of view, where we like the build up, we like the a massive climax. I think for kids with shorter attention spans, that would have hit harder.
Really?
Fair.
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, absolutely. Now,
you're the teacher, not me. So
I mean, if you took longer, it might have lost interest, or if it seems too foreshadowing, because kids really do pick up on that sort of stuff. The fact it happens out of nowhere and it's over and it's done. Granted, it gives you suspicion that it's not completely final, but when you realize it is, it makes it more impactful and it's a stronger memory because it's so quick paced and fast. And if correct me if I'm wrong, as soon as she falls, it's replaced by a guy shooting a gun as she's like hurtling towards the ground. So it's like the bright imagery, it's the fast happening. It's like a kid could not be not fully entertained or fully aware of what was going on in that moment, as opposed to something taking 25 seconds too long and losing interest.
I don't know. I remember as a kid, it still didn't like. I didn't even remember it happened. So I don't like. I love this game and I played it a ton, and I couldn't remember that she died.
You've also got to remember, I'm working with the TikTok generation, so.
That's true. That is true.
I just remember I remember her dying, but I remember Bond not really having much of a reaction, which I thought it was funny. Where it's like, oh, I guess he's just waiting for Allura.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, I forgot she's the Bond girl in this, isn't she?
One of yeah. I mean, she comes the next mission, or maybe the mission after. I think
next mission is Deep Descent. So yeah, she's in that because she's in the car review.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no! Deep Descent is wait. Is Deep Descent only the submarine? What happens? I get them all mixed up.
Is only the submarine from what I remember.
Yeah. So
okay. So then island infiltration, I think, is what you're thinking of with Allura.
Oh, that's right. Because Q's on the boat and he's like, "Oh, go and do." I could have sworn she's in the car with you. Goodness me, I need to play this game again.
I actually no, she is in Deep Descent with you. I don't remember. I don't fuck it. Okay, here we go. Let's just keep moving on. So this mission, so after Chain Reaction in Phoenix Fire,
she picks you up at the end of Phoenix Fire. She's in the car that meets at the end.
That's what it is. Yes. You meet Allura McCall. That's exactly what it is. So Phoenix Fire is the mission that you're going through. You're fighting through. They reuse the same office from Night Shift, but now instead of sneaking your way up, you're fighting your way back down. Honestly, kind of a smart way to reuse a level, so you get an extra level without actually having to design a whole new level. You just can reuse and just repurpose it, type of thing. I don't really have much to say about this one. It's just you fight your way through. It's pretty tough from what I remember. But then it gets to, because you meet the Australian intelligence agents. Why is Australia interested in all this? I don't know. Bond is sent to an island in the South Pacific because Drake owns it, and so they use a jamming signal, and is using a jamming signal to conceal a station he has there, or what he has stationed there. And you are going to infiltrate it by using your nice fancy car and turning it into a submarine and going to his island through there. Of course, Drake, though, is guarding the island with a bunch of submarines, and this leads to the mission Deep Descent.
I'm sorry. I'm very sorry, Josh. I've had a lot of talking. I just remember the cutscene at the end of Phoenix Fire when you're in the car of Allura. We talked about the fact that Bond didn't seem particularly sad about Dominique's death. He does have a moment of reflection at the end there, which for Bond's character is presented in this, at least gives a bit of closure to it. Like, I don't know if you guys remember that cutscene.
I think
I honestly don't.
I mean, I just played it a month ago and I don't remember. The story in the story in this game is very hit or miss for me. It's fine. I enjoy the gameplay a lot more than the story.
Oh, the gameplay sells it.
Yes.
But yeah, there's a cutscene at the end where they're driving away in Allura's red car, and he says about something like losing a friend or something like that. I don't remember the exact nomenclature.
Well, and actually, when he climbs in, I'm watching the scene now. He's just looking out the window forlornly, like he's just very sad. And she's talking, and she goes, "You're not a very talkative one, are you?" And he goes, "It's been a difficult evening."
Okay.
And so, yeah, there is some actual genuine sadness from this.
Yeah, that's slightly more in depth than I thought. I could have sworn you said like something slightly more impactful than "It's been a difficult day. I'm sorry. Where's my dinner?"
No, he didn't say it's been a difficult evening, Miss McCall. I lost a friend.
Oh, I half of my memory's still good.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I just read the small bit just to keep, just I don't know, I was too slow at reading it, I guess.
So at this point, we're now at what 80% down the shirt shots and 20% remorse.
That's right. That's the ratio we want for a
for a 2002 James Bond game.
That could be the tagline for the
Jesus
episode.
So the next mission, Deep Descent, can go die in a goddamn ditch.
Oh god, yeah.
This level,
water levels.
I fucking hate this level with a burning passion. It is the only time in the entire game where I collectively lost my shit. It took me, I think I started it at the end of one stream, got frustrated, did another stream the next day for like an hour and a half, couldn't beat the fucking level, and then finally beat it on the third one. So it took like I beat this level over the course of 3 different streams on Twitch, and god damn it, does this level suck. Oh my god.
You're not even happy when you beat it too.
No.
You're just like, oh, good.
It's fucking stupid.
Let's move on.
You have to sneak into his base, and like the very first thing is like there's a submarine coming, so you have to dodge away from it. All right, fine. So you go underneath fucking, there's like a sunken ship, and you go into the hole in the sunken ship, and now it can't see you. I even tried, though. I was curious. I went to the other side of the ship. Like, I didn't go into the ship, but I went to the other side where it still shouldn't be able to see me. But because I didn't hit, the event trigger, it still noticed, oh, well, you're out of the sub. It clearly can still see you, even though it should not be able to fucking see me. But whatever. But yeah, so you go into this sunken ship, and you basically go through a system of caves, and you have to blow up their communications device, and then you have to go through a minefield, and the minefield fucking sucks because the mines move. I died so many times on those stupid fucking mines. Then after you get through the minefields, assuming you do, then you have to chase this like thing to the other side. You have to chase like another like underwater craft type of thing. It's like a mini sub type of thing to the other side, and you have to make sure you keep up with it because it's unlocking like gates for you to pass by in, and you have to make sure you keep up with it. And when you get to the very end, you have to fight like 3 of them, which isn't awful. And then after you defeat the 3 of them, you go through like one more set of gates, and then you have to fight a fucking sub, which is like the only way I know how to beat it is to have it spawn, swim to the back, and then just fire the remote torpedoes. That's the only way I know how to beat it, because it was so like I tried, like attacking it and then moving and attacking it and moving, but its torpedoes would always like home in on me and hit me no matter what I did. And the thing that's most frustrating is that this is a long level. It takes a long time to get through all of the things I just told you. And if you die, you start over at the beginning. There's no fucking mid checkpoint like the other long levels. No, not in this one. You have to start all the way over from the beginning. Go through the minefield, chase after the stupid fucking sub, fight, and eventually die again on the giant submarine. It's just, this level can go die. Okay, rant over. It sucks.
I'll say, Josh, in a very bizarre circumstance, I have nothing more to add to your comments.
I hate it so much. Anybody have any contrarians to this? Or are you both in agreement with me? What are your thoughts?
This is usually where I stop playing when I'm doing my platinum runs. So like I often try and I'll play every year or so. I'll pick up the game, play it, try and do some platinum runs. I have great times with Chain Reaction, with Night Shift, even and the Exchange. Those levels are amazing. Even Double Cross, very fun. But when I get to Deep Descent, that's usually where I'm like, well, I'll go do something else. Yeah. It's just not worth it, especially when you're trying to do platinum. Like it's not fun. It wasn't fun when I first played it either. There was always the level that I would stop at and later like come back to later.
I'll say as a kid, having known films like Spy Who Loved Me, which I enjoy pretty well, but love the the submarine craft and that. I was like, oh, I get to do a Spy Who Loved Me level, and then it rocking up like this, it just added to my disappointment.
Yeah, I was like, this would have been a really cool and fun idea. It just ended up not being a cool and fun idea. It could have been, but it wasn't.
No, agreed.
Yep.
So so then the next mission after that, you arrive at Drake's Island, and which I believe the mission is called Island Infiltration. And infiltration, once again, makes it sound like it's going to be stealthy. This is not a stealthy level at all. It's a vehicle level, and it is honestly one of the more challenging levels of the game. Like, I also had a hard time with this, not as hard as the Deep Descent level, but it's a pretty intense level where you have to, you start off in a vehicle and you in a car, like an armored SUV type of thing with missiles and all that other stuff, and you have to fight your way through the island. And I know there's a couple like moments that are pretty challenging too, because there's like these turrets you have to make sure you take out, but like you have to take them out before you continue on. It won't let you continue on unless I think it's one of the objectives. And then once you beat that, there's a second half to the level where then you're in an airplane and and then it turns into like a rail shooter. And this, unlike Alpine Escape, I did not enjoy this rail shooter segment. But I'm going to throw it over to you first, Mike, to kind of talk about this level. What are your thoughts on it?
This is always kind of one that I kind of forget about a little bit, and maybe it's because it's later in the game, or maybe just because I don't think it's as good as the rest of the game, or the rest of the vehicle or rail shooting parts of the game. Like I totally agree with you. For that, in that sense, it was difficult. I don't love the control of the Jeep as well. Not saying that the Aston Martin was beautiful to control, but I felt the Jeep was even more like weird to control. It is annoying with those little turrets to always have to shoot those down. You take a lot of damage all the time. It's very hard to not take damage at all. And the plane area, I remember enjoying as a kid, because like, who doesn't like being able to control a plane? That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't like a super amazing, groundbreaking thing. I think it was just a neat add-on in the game.
Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think we've touched upon the point beforehand. Forgettable is the main word that comes to mind. For a game that's only 12 levels long, the fact the level can be forgettable is, at least when it's Deep Descent, we remember it. But with this one, it just seemed like, even with the plane parts, I don't know what it was. This was never one. It was a bit of a chore to get the platinum on this over and over again. That doesn't mean it was particularly difficult in a way. It was just a level I didn't really particularly care about. I think I know because...
Oh, man, I had a hard time with it. You must be better than I am at it. I had a real hard time with this level.
Really? I think it's because I know what follows it, and as a kid I knew what followed it, and I was so much more excited to play that instead.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Let's do it. The second to last mission, Countdown. which after you infiltrate his island facility, I guess we should have mentioned you do just defeat Rook and Kiko in these missions. Oh no, Kiko not yet, right? Kiko's toward a little bit later.
No, Kiko gets a very cinematic exit.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You know what?
Amazing. Favorite death.
Because you defeat Kiko in the countdown mission, right?
Yeah, especially well, I'm sure we'll mention it, but part of your eyebrow animation thing comes into it during her death.
Oh my gosh, I even forgot at the end of the island infiltration, you have like a turret mission. Dear God, this level sucks. Sorry, you're right, Chris. It is very forgettable.
Yeah.
So once you go, the countdown mission is you defeat both Kiko and Rook in this mission, but it's a very, very long mission. You're basically just going into Drake's base and blowing it the fuck up. So you guys both said you really enjoy this, so I'm gonna stop hogging the mic. Chris, we'll start off with you on this one.
It feels like genuinely invading a massive villain's base. Like, it feels very legit. There's so many different moments where the camera pans away for a second and you get some story intel, like when you see Kiko rocking up for the first time and they're saying stuff like, oh, they penetrated our security, lock down the sector, all this stuff. It feels like very legitimate Bond commentary. So for me as a kid who knew Bond films, this felt very cinematic to me. But also there's a certain feel of purpose for everything you do in this. Like, so many times Bond games give objectives where you need to do something that's completely not necessary. In this, everything you do feels important. And while I think Equinox is a perfectly fine level, this is like the ending level for me. The next one feels like a bit of an add-on. And as well, I think we talked about longest levels. This is probably, I think, even if you can do it well, this is probably the longest level because there's so many little facets here and there. And you get the mini Bond villain deaths here and there. You get the sneaking. You can do a lot of this on stealth, which I really appreciate as well. But yeah, you get some of the best moments in the game in this, just from a gameplay point of view. Because of course, at this point, you're on the 11th level of the game. Your skills are really honed, and it gives you a lot of challenges that you can kind of pull off seamlessly. Like, it's if you've put in the time, this level feels like it's really you showing off, and I love that. And of course, what does Bond do in every film he's in? He shows it off.
100% agreed with basically everything you said there. I'd say the first half of this level is Night Shift Part 2.
Yes.
In many ways, it is pushing you to the stealth. You have your Delta repeater, your little crossbow that you get to use for everything. That is super fun. You're basically trying to go through the entire first half there without tripping the alarm. You have to basically figure out how to properly navigate the vents, drop into these little offices where the guards are, disable the security, use your laser properly. But if you're playing it on the hard level, it is a little difficult because if you use your laser and you accidentally tiny bit move the cursor or move the joystick over on the control panel, you can destroy the wrong part of the control panel, and then the alarm goes off and you have to restart. So that happened to me a lot. So why I am talking about it. But I love that first half of it. The second half is fun too. It is definitely more the guns blazing part, which is still fine. Like, that's when you have your samurai, at least. And samurai is one of my favorite, if not my favorite weapon, other than Sentinel, of course, in the game. I think samurai is such a cool weapon to play with, especially when you're doing multiplayer.
It's a fucking laser gun. It's awesome.
It's a laser gun. Yeah, it's great. You can overcharge it and do a big blow up, and it has the best ending of the level, I think, in any level so far that we've had. Like, every end of the level is kind of cool, but like, even in Night Shift, you get to the roof and there are a bunch of people are shooting at you. You're like, okay, I'm gonna leave, and you get your parachute and just jump down, and it's fine. But for this one, it's got the best death in the whole game. It's got the best scene, which is where the spaceship, the rocket, is going to launch. You're fighting people as you go into these little grates to make sure that you don't die when the fire is going off. And then, of course, you get Kiko to go in one, and or don't let her go into one, and you lock her out, and she dies by rocket engine fire. It's
awesome. I will say, though, I had a hard time with this last section because I didn't know that's what the game wanted me to do at first. Like, I was very confused as to what was happening. Which I blame myself. I was thinking about this afterwards. I was like, why has this been like, why did it take me so long to understand this? And the game is pretty clear. So basically there's what, 3 rockets that go off, and they tell you there's 3 rockets, and you have to hide in the blast doors so the blast of it doesn't kill you.
Blast doors, yeah.
So you go into so they have a countdown even, and you have to go into the blast doors. I think it's like with like 7 or 8 seconds to spare, because that's when they fully close. And you have to go to the blast doors just like 10 seconds or so before the countdown actually ends, so that way you can go in there and be safe. And those blast doors also, those rooms also act as like kind of like a recharge. Like you get more ammo, you can get new body armor, you get all this cool stuff. And so the first couple times that I did it, I kept dying because I played it. I went into the first one by almost by complete accident and didn't realize, like, I thought I messed up. I was like, oh, I could have killed that Kiko beforehand. But no, she's invulnerable in the glass until you go through all 3 rocket launches, only for you then to, like, I think at that point she gets like pissed and tries to come out to get you, and then you lock her out.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm mentioning about your eyebrow animation, because there is a terrific eyebrow raise while Brosnan's looking through the glass at her, which is a great little tail on to the episode. Like it's a nice way to end it, especially as it's such an intense level, to have the little moment of humor like that, and also a bit of like justification, especially if you still have a hangover about Dominique. It's a nice way to end the level.
Mm-hmm. I agree. But what's crazy though is it's not even the end of the level, because the lead up to her though, even after you defeat Rook, is surprisingly long. So if you do die, you have a pretty long lead up to get back to her, which isn't like the worst, but it is kind of annoying. But yeah, so if you survive it, then Kiko's about to get into the last rocket, and you just you you hit a button which causes the bridge to drop out, and then she can't get out, and she dies.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a certain spy bit about it as well. Like, I played James Bond as a kid all the time. I put fake guns around my house. I picked them up like the multiplayer games in GoldenEye. And seeing little bits where like he's shooting through the glass through the lift, that's what I'd be imagining, all that sort of little things here and there. It was just like a nice little, for a 9-year-old kid, it was like a nice little inspiration for future like Bond making play sessions.
Mm-hmm. And so we get to our final level, the final boss, which is Raphael Drake. And I will say, as much as like I think the last level, the level we just talked about, is a good culmination of everything you've learned from the game. So I can see what you're saying, how like that is like really kind of the final level. This actually feels like a boss. Like it feels like it's a boss, like, and that's so hard to do in FPSs, I feel sometimes, without just it being some big tough dude that's a damage sponge and you have to dodge around all the time. Like this is it's a proper boss in my opinion. And so what it is that you're in the international, or the Drake's, not the International Space Station, in Drake's space station, and you have to essentially manually shoot the mechanisms for the each missile for each of them. You have to manually shoot each of them and destroy it, so that way when when it launches, it's going to launch off course type of thing. And I forget what the name of the actual mechanism. It's not the homing mechanism, but it's like something else. And while all this is happening, though, there's a giant laser that's being shot from the center of the space station that you have to dodge. And there's also astronauts coming out of different bays of the space station that you have to take out. And it's honestly really challenging, because it's hard to kind of aim. You're basically playing like a game with like a jetpack, for lack of a better term. You're not in, like, because you're floating around in zero gravity, so I guess you are technically in a jetpack even in the game, but it feels like it's a game that would be like a jetpack mission in any other game. And it's tricky because the astronauts are really hard to hit. You also only have a limited amount of time to take out the guidance systems for each of these missiles. So you have to kind of determine, like, okay, is this like, do I take the risk and get shot a little bit more often? or do I wait a little bit longer and hope that I can make it to the missiles in time before they launch? And that's the boss. Once you destroy all the missiles, they go off course and they end up blowing up Drake's base, and it's the end of the game. But Mike? I'm going to start off with you. Your thoughts on the final boss?
I mean, I think you said it very well there, that it's one of the only times in this game that it truly feels like you're facing an actual boss. And in that way, it's good. It is very, very campy as well. And the fact that you're just like in space and all these astronauts are fighting you. And that's fine. That works well for this game at this point, to be honest. But it was never a level I was looking forward to, and still don't look forward to facing. Like, I see the level still as a bit of a chore. Like you explaining it even right now, I'm like, yeah, that is a bit of a chore where you're just kind of having to wait, shoot the things, have people shoot at you. I don't know. It's a boss, and it feels like a boss, but it also feels like a chore.
Mm-hmm. Chris, what about you?
Doubling down on what Mike said, yeah, it definitely feels like a chore in certain aspects. When you do it on a like a silver or gold level, it does feel like a very climactic end to the entire game, and I think it ramps up in that way quite well. I'd say previous things like the fact Spy Who Loved Me and the car came up, and then this is clearly Moonraker, and Kiko died in a very Moonraker style way. I feel like it's referencing previous Bond films. It's just a shame I don't like Moonraker, because I probably enjoy it. If this was like a moment from a Bond film I'd loved, I'd probably be in absolute seventh heaven with this. But I will say, like, while it can be a bit of a chore when you're especially if you're trying to platinum, it's a challenging level. I will say my one major gripe with this is that the controls, 1 minute feel great. Next minute, if I turn 90 degrees a bit too hard, they suddenly go completely out of whack, and I feel like I have to reposition myself. That's my major thing with it. But I will also say, just graphically, incredible looking level. The Earth looks amazing. The spaceship looks incredible. The explosions are fantastic. The spacemen coming out and you being able to blow them away and they fall back in that sort of like still space mode. It's a very cinematic end to a very cinematic game.
Good point.
Yeah. And that's it. You save the day. You meet up with Allura. From what I remember, I don't fucking remember. You meet up with Allura, and then that's it. You get in a car with Allura, and it says, "Well done, 007." And he goes, I'm sure the world won't mind me taking a few days off. And he goes, "We'll let autopilot be our designated driver." And the seats lean back, but they don't move closer to each other, and they just let the car go into the ocean. So they're gonna have sex in that car sub.
No,
that's how the game ends.
No, they play a thrilling game of Scrabble.
I was going to say it's like drunk Scrabble. Every time they mess up a word, they take a shot because they need the designated driver. I don't know. That's the only thing. Like, I understand the joke, but designated driver to me usually implies, like drinking. So I'm like, how are they going to do like some drinking game with it? I don't know.
And that's exactly it. Drunk Scrabble. Right. I mean, all of it's there. That's not a bad observation.
That's what they pay me the big bucks for here on Still Loading. Drunk Scrabble. But that ends Nightfire, y'all. That ends the story. The only things that we have left to talk about, though, are the visuals and music. And do either of you want to kick that off? Like the overall presentation, we've touched on the story through all this, and obviously all the gameplay elements through that. Like, in all honesty, I'm actually surprised because I normally don't break games down mission by mission, but it feels like these Bond games, it works so well because there's only 12 missions. It's not that crazy long.
Yeah, you kind of need to, especially when a Bond game is being presented as a cinematic experience. I think Agent Under Fire walked so Nightfire could run. I think Nightfire ran so Everything or Nothing could leap. Because I think this was the first truly cinematic Bond in a way. Agent Under Fire tried to be that, but the gameplay just was not there to make it feel like a fluid Bond experience. This was the basis that I think made every other Bond game that preceded it incredible. So yeah, as many things I can say that are a bit jank or things that don't work, the steps this took to making a cinematic Bond experience like the films, like they even in the advert for The World Is Not Enough and the PS1, they're saying, imagine what it feels like to be Bond. This is the first game that actually happened.
Mm-hmm. No, you're 100% right though, man. Like it really is like the way they make this game look and feel is that it feels like a Bond game. It still looks good for a PS2 game. I still think some of the lighting elements are really nice. And I think like the music is honestly really good. I think the soundtrack in this is better than some of the other ones that we've up until this point. I just enjoyed how this game looks and feels and sounds. And the Mike, you commented on the night shift level. The music in there is much more subdued. Like they do a great job of having like a soundtrack that changes in loudness and in intensity, and because of that you get a nice juxtaposition, and it makes like the big moments feel a lot bigger, and it makes the quieter moments feel a lot quieter. Something I can't say the same for some of the other Bond games. I'm the next Bond game I want to talk about next week, but once again, I'll get into all that next week. But yeah, I just like how this looks and feels, and I really can't get over the lighting in the double cross level. I just really enjoy that level, and that the look and feel of it. But Mike, your thoughts on the overall presentation, graphics and sound and whatnot.
Dynamics. Imagine having dynamics in your
That's the
soundtrack,
word. That's the $10 word. Thank you.
It's the score is fantastic. I think Nightfire does a great job in the respect of the presentation and the soundtrack and everything, graphics. Nothing gets in the way of your gameplay, and that's the key thing about this game. There's nothing that is taking you out of it. There's nothing that's taking you out of feeling like James Bond. Like you're very immersed in it while you're playing the single player, and also while you're playing the multiplayer. Like the soundtrack allows you to realize that, well, this is a James Bond game. And when I had played this game, I didn't really have much background with James Bond at all. Like I knew who James Bond was. My uncle was a huge Bond fan, and I had seen some movies, but I certainly wasn't someone who was like, oh, that's the James Bond, that's the sound. But then everything is able to connect it so well in that sense. Like the presentation works, the graphics work really well, and they look great today. Like I can go and play Nightfire today and not even blink an eye. Like, and I can't say the same for Agent Under Fire, for one. And I totally agree with Chris's point of Agent Under Fire walks, so Nightfire could run. And same with GoldenEye. Like, it's difficult to go back, without those rose tinted glasses. But Nightfire, it still looks good. Even when I show it to people who've never played Nightfire before, they're like, "Wow, that looks pretty good for a 2002 game." I was like, "I know," and it just. I know I was in quotes. It's like, it's just a first person licensed shooter. It's not supposed to be that good. Like at the end of the day, honestly, but it's in that respect, the presentation blows everything away.
I really think it was the first of its kind for a Bond game to do this. Like you said, like you were already mentioning, Chris, like it's the first Bond game to look and feel like a Bond movie.
Yeah.
And it just, it nails it. It really nails it on all fronts. And I think that's what really just captivated me and like reeled me in when I first played it. But yeah, let's get into final thoughts, y'all. We've already been going on for quite some time. We're getting close to 2 hours, as I was expecting for a Nightfire episode. Let's go into final thoughts. Mike, why don't we start off with you for final thoughts, and then we'll see where we go from there.
Well, this game, we haven't talked about it much, but for me,
the multiplayer, we should have at least touched on the multiplayer. Yes, we're
gonna do it right now.
Yes, let's do that. You talk about them. I totally forgot. That's another huge element of this game. How could I fucking forget? Sorry. Go ahead, Mike. You go ahead and talk about the multiplayer.
Sure, yeah. For me, multiplayer is life in this game. I constantly am still playing multiplayer with my friend Neil, who I co-host my podcast with, my cousins, other friends. Quite a few times a year, we boot up Nightfire, we play our missions. We have I kind of do like 4 or 5 ones because there's a lot of different game modes in multiplayer. And you have the ability to add at least 6 AI bots too, which makes it extremely fun. But my favorite types of missions are doing sniping on Fort Knox, and doing capture the flag there with sniping weapons. That's always fun. And then also doing explosions 1 weapon set, which is the Sentinels and the Scorpions, all your rocket launchers, on Phoenix Base, which is the smallest arena in multiplayer. and
Oh my
it breaks
God.
the game completely. It just lags it to no end. And I usually do top agent, which is top agent is how many you start with 25 lives or whatever, however many lives, and you basically are trying to stay alive. And that's a really fun mode to play on Phoenix Base because you're basically dying every 2 seconds.
Dude, so my buddy Justin and I did that exact same thing. We set it on explosives and would play Phoenix Base, but we had our own name for that mode. We called it 2 for the price of 10 because every time that you would get 2 kills, you would kill yourself 10 times from the explosions that you were trying to, well, you try to take out the enemy and you would ultimately end up hurting yourself. And I remember we would slowly whittle away our health, until what we would do is we would purposely, especially if we're playing against bots, we would purposely jump into the water in the center that would insta kill you, just so even though we would lose like a point, we wouldn't give the bots a point. So we would just keep on going. We're like, you can't kill me if I can kill me first, you son of a bitch. That was how we played that. The 2 for the price of 10 was my favorite game mode.
Love that.
And go ahead.
Oh no, I just was gonna finish my thought of like multiplayer for me is where the game shines. It's the best part of the game, even though the single player campaign is fantastic, cinematic, makes you feel like James Bond. You'll only have so much fun playing multiplayer because you're going to have to get to Deep Descent at some point, and you're going to have to play that, and you're going to stop playing. So the multiplayer is where you'll always be coming back to because the levels are also fantastic. Like almost every level, maybe other than like Atlantis. I don't love Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every level is extremely fun to play on, and you learn new little secrets, new little things about each one. Skyrail is so fun because you can go in the little gondolas and traverse the map that way. It's amazing.
Can I bounce on that point specifically?
Go for it.
So you're saying Atlantis is not one of your favorites. I will say when it comes to multiplayer, my dad would walk into the room when I was playing a game, feign interest, and I was like, "Oh, this is a James Bond game," and he sees me doing something he doesn't recognize, and he's like, "Yeah, sure it is, kiddo." I will say he saw me doing a multiplayer level on Atlantis once, and he was like, "That's Spy Who Loved Me, isn't it?" And that led to quite a few years of us specifically playing Fort Knox and Atlantis because he recognized it. And we'd always play on the same team. He didn't know the controls, but he learned it with me together. And it's an experience I hold very dear because he got so into it, got so involved in team deathmatch with my dad. And it started with like me and him against one bot, me and him against 2 bots. And he kept escalating as he got better. And it became a very close personal thing because it didn't require other people to play against us. We only had 2 like PlayStation controllers at the time, but we just sit down and play it for hours. And it would always be Fort Knox or Atlantis. I think I one time tried to do the Phoenix level with him, and as you say, it was just murder everywhere. So we never went back to that. But no, that was nice as just a family thing for that. And I do realize that GoldenEye Rogue Agent, which came out in 2006, I think it took the base levels from multiplayer and you obviously Phoenix and Fort Knox and Atlantis, and then they realized that actually they could try and make this into their own game when they realized how well they could recreate the environments. So I think there's also possibly a tangent here that could be said that Rogue Agent, while not the best game in the world, the idea of it came from Nightfire.
That's interesting.
Also, I do have to mention too, of course, that we all know what character we pick in multiplayer. Everybody say it. Thank you.
Sorry, cut that out. Job. 3, 2, 1. Odd job.
Or knick-knack if you don't want to get shot, because knick-knack is also fun because bots have a really tough time when you're knick-knack.
I want there to be a Bond meme game where all the characters you play as in multiplayer have to have like gimmicks based off the movies. So knick-knack will just hurl bottles of Tabasco at people.
Oh yeah. Oh,
that's a deep cut for any Bond heads out there.
Oh, I am applauding over here. Don't you worry.
We got Jaws, who takes like 1,000 bullets to the head before he dies. Also,
well, he can kill people by biting them in the neck, but it happens very slowly.
Yeah, 1,000 bullets, but you have to be so close you can bite a neck.
Yeah, exactly.
The mechanic would be like when he's going in for his vampire kill, his defense goes up, but he goes incredibly slow towards the victim's neck. So it's a risk reward for the player. This game this idea has legs, y'all. I think you need to go to Amazon.
Like I said, with the bots as well, not only the inclusion of like the game characters, but you can play as Zoran, like you can play as Onatop, you can play as Mayday, like the extensive list of characters here. Like lots of this, like I've said about the Spy Who Loved Me submarine level, the Moonraker ending, all the multiplayer you can do in like multiplayer mode. It does feel like it was made for Bond fans as well as the average person. So I do appreciate that.
Yeah, because for me, not knowing these Bond characters, like this is how I learned all the Bond characters. And now when I go and watch Bond films, I'm like, oh, there's Bax Sorin, there's Scaramanga. Like that's so cool to me. Later on, when I started to get into that, it's a very good way to get into Bond. I think like Nightfire is actually, I would definitely recommend people if they're like don't really know about James Bond. And like video games and like these kind of shooters, I'd be like, yeah, play Nightfire. You'll learn like a lot of James Bond lore through that, and you'll like get like an idea of what a Bond film is kind of supposed to be.
Camp.
Yeah,
it is Bond boot camp.
Yeah. Some real quick recollections for myself for my own multiplayer stuff. Besides 2 for the price of 10, we would also play, I forget the name of the level, but it's like the ski lodge, right, where they would have like the ski lifts that are going
Skyrail.
What's it called? Skyrail. I would play Skyrail with snipers. That was a lot of fun. Or we would also do the explosives, and we would stand on one side of the map and have the remote guided missiles go to the other side and like use it as a scouting tool, and then also blow up any bots that we would find. We would also then put like whichever place we were in, whether it was the castle up at the top of the map or like the ski lodge at the bottom, what we would do is we would then rig that building with nothing but laser trip mines. So it would so if an enemy spawned down there and somehow got up to us, they would have to run through a bunch of trip mines just to get to us.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of fun. You're 100% right, Mike. Like the multiplayer is one of the best parts of this, and I'm not a multiplayer person. I don't enjoy multiplayer, but I think the reason this game really sold it for me is one of the reasons I don't enjoy multiplayer is I don't like the competitive side of things. Like I part of it is that if I start doing poorly, I get mad, and that's not fair to the people who are good at the game. You know, like it's not their fault that I suck. You know, like it's something that I have to work on. But I get so mad, and it becomes unfun. Versus when I'm playing against bots, even if the bots beat me, if we up the difficulty and they're challenging, I just enjoy like playing with my friends as a team against the computer. That's what, no matter what game I'm playing, whether it's an RTS or an FPS or anything like that. And a lot of the other Bond games that I played didn't have AI bots. Though I did find out when I recorded my Agent Under Fire episode that the PS2 version did not have AI bots, but the GameCube and Xbox ones did because they had more time to develop. Mm-hmm. I was unaware of that, and I feel very misled and disappointed in everything. That I did not know that.
Nightfire.
Not Nightfire, PS2 Agent Under Fire.
Agent Under Fire. I specifically remember bots in Nightfire. Agent Under Fire, I hardly played because I couldn't help compare it to Nightfire and be disappointed.
Yeah. Yep. Replaying Agent Under Fire, it's honestly a really fun romp. Like you can beat it in 5 hours. Nightfire takes a little bit longer. There's a little bit more to it. The multiplayer is better. The feel of Bond is better. But anyway, we're getting into final thoughts with all this. Yeah. So let's finally do that though. Like the multiplayer rules, if y'all haven't played this game's multiplayer, it's worth playing. But yes, let's get into final thoughts. Mike, now over to you for final thoughts.
Well, I think Nightfire itself is such a unique game. And I think I talked, obviously, like just saying back there that if you want to get into James Bond, Nightfire is the way, in my opinion. It is the Bond boot camp, like Chris said. It gives you a little bit of everything. This game is super, super diverse in a lot of ways that first-person shooters were absolutely not in 2002. And at the time, it was lauded. You know, it wasn't like it just came out to poor reviews, but it's a game I've only seen get better for people. Like people, it's more and more in people's eyes. It was often one of those forgotten games because of GoldenEye's success and the fact that we were never really able to match that commercial success as well, right? Of GoldenEye on the N64. So the nostalgia isn't the same for Nightfire, but that's also kind of a good thing because it allows people to go in without rose tinted glasses. It allows people to go in very objectively and play a game and say, oh, this is actually really good. And it's been really cool throughout my time doing the podcast of seeing people who follow us, who listen to us, pick up Nightfire because of our recommendations and only have good things to say about it. And they're like, wow, I never even really knew this game existed. It definitely feels like it flew under the radar, despite it selling okay. It sold well enough. But it's a game that I think is gonna influence First Light in a lot of ways. I think because First Light is, one of the first times we're having the first Bond game in so long, but also one of the first times we're going back to this original story type kind of Bond. Now, of course, it's going to be a different setting and everything, but I'm sure that the developers at IO Interactive were playing and looking at Nightfire before they dove into that. So my final thought is that Nightfire is not a perfect game, but probably one of the most fun games you'll ever play.
I'm with you on that. I'll go up next, and Chris, I will give you the guest the final say. I think this game fucking rules. I still think this is the best James Bond game that I've played. I do want to play all the way through From Russia with Love still, because I've played bits of it, but I never finished it. But for me, now that I've played Everything or Nothing, and because I played it all the way through for the first time for the episode next week. I've played, GoldenEye, I've played Bloodstone, which was a PS3 game, which is also pretty good, underrated IMO. But I've played, The World's Not Enough. I've played 007 The Duel for the Sega Genesis. All of these different James Bond games, and by far this was the one. I mean, maybe it is nostalgia that's convincing me of this, but man, it was just the first Bond game that put everything together to make me actually feel like James Bond. It between the cold opening, the way the fact that they structured the game like a James Bond movie, the plot felt like a genuine James Bond movie, not just a plot that you would see in an Austin Powers movie. And I know sometimes there's that line it's a fine line to thread, because the James Bond plots are kind of ridiculous. But there is a way to kind of tell a ridiculous plot in a serious way, and while you can recognize that it's goofy, it still feels grounded for a Bond movie. And Agent Under Fire, it felt like a Austin Powers movie. This did not feel like an Austin Powers movie. It felt like a James Bond movie. The levels were interesting and varied. The mechanics were solid. It's a really good looking FPS, especially considering this came out in 2002. So it's a relatively early PS2 title, only 2 years into the console's life cycle at the time. It's just a great game. It is my favorite James Bond game, and I've been meaning to talk about this game for a while. I actually started a kind of half-assed James Bond series on the podcast years ago, where I covered Agent Under Fire once before. I covered a couple of the other James Bond games, and I was waiting to cap it off with this, but that series kind of fell by the wayside. It's been dormant for 3 years at this point, so I figured, you know what, fuck it, let's do Road to First Light. And I had to talk about this game. The whole reason I picked the games that I picked for this Road to First Light series is because I wanted to talk about Nightfire. Finally did it, and I'm so happy I got the chance to do so for this episode. So Chris, I'm going to throw it over to you for your final thoughts on 007 Nightfire.
So I made a very controversial point at the start of the episode that this is my third favorite Bond game. And I said quite clearly, with rose-tinted spectacles, GoldenEye is my favorite. And that's purely a thing for me. We're now going to talk about the specifically best Bond game. And the entire podcast, I've made note of this, we've all been calling this a Bond game. And I think when it comes down to it, Everything or Nothing is a better Bond game. It captures the spirit. This was the first one to capture the spirit of the Bond games. But I think if we have to compare, and we're not calling these first-person shooters, we're not calling these shooting games, we have all, this entire podcast, called them Bond games. Now, if you have to ask me which is the better Bond game, which has the true spirit of Bond in their game, it's Everything or Nothing. Granted, maybe this game has a more fun multiplayer. Maybe this game has a more fun single-player experience. What captures the spirit of Bond? This game gets very damn close. Like, I'm talking like high 90% close, but it doesn't fully capture it. There's too many little bits here and there that just leave it a little bit like alone. If we're just talking about shooting games, this would probably be like one of the top of all time. But we've specifically said Bond games this entire time, and it's just missing a bit too much here and there. And I know this is a Bond game podcast. We're doing Road to First Light, so I have to bring that into comparison. We're not talking about first person shooters. We're not talking about shooting games. We're talking about Bond games, and frankly, I hate to say this, Everything or Nothing, in my opinion, does it better.
Ooh. I think I very strongly disagree, but I'll share my disagreements with you off mic and on the episode for next week.
I agree with you, Chris. Ooh. I agree with you. I think you're right. Yeah, because I think to what your point is basically trying to say is that I would recommend Nightfire to anyone, right? Nightfire is like a great recommendation. Everyone's going to like it. I don't think everyone's going to like Everything or Nothing. But I think you're right in the sense that it is probably closer to what a James Bond experience should be, where Nightfire is more of just like a shooting experience, like a
This is incredibly experience. Like, I'm being directly obtuse here. Everyone played Nightfire. Everyone also played Call of Duty 4.
I don't understand what the point you're trying to make is with that.
2 first-person shooters that were incredibly popular with the mainstream market.
Okay.
And are good, and are objectively good.
Yeah, I still don't understand. I'm not arguing. I totally understand you liking Everything or Nothing more, or you thinking it's a better James Bond game. But this point, I don't understand how that proves your point. How that gives credence to your point.
Both games were very accessible to somebody who didn't know the franchise beforehand.
I mean, I would make the argument that Call of Duty has always been relatively accessible, because they didn't really change all that much. I don't think that's I understand your comparison. I don't necessarily agree with it. I understand but I think your point though is that this is more accessible so your point is that this is not as good of a Bond game because it's too accessible. They toned down the Bond elements to make it more accessible to other people.
They had plenty of Bond elements. It's just I think the overall appearance of the game, the overall way you could actually play the game, and how you found out there are 3 secret paths in the second level, the exchange, all that sort of thing. That was playing more to a gamer's point of view, whereas a Bond fan would have more fun specifically with Everything or Nothing, whereas anybody could enjoy this game.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you that this is more accessible than Everything or Nothing. I disagree that they toned down the Bond elements, but that's to each their own. To each their own. I can't go into it. I'm so sorry we keep touching on this, but I cannot go into it until next week's episode.
I will say, Josh, with full respect to you, this game is absolutely phenomenal. I love it. I have always loved it. My particular opinions are based on other more specific elements. I will say though, I could not recommend this game to anybody. I mean, everybody should play this game. It is that good.
Hell yeah.
It's fantastic. And I think though, I do think you bringing up Everything or Nothing, I think this is, I hope whetted the appetite for everyone, for all the listeners for next week's episode, so they can hopefully I don't disappoint. Hopefully we haven't built it up too much only for me to fumble the ball on the 1 yard line for next week's episode. So we'll see where it goes.
Josh, having done so many podcasts with you, I know you could never.
We'll see. I got some wonderful guests for that one as well, and I do think there's going to be some hot takes on it too. So not just for me. I'm curious to see what everyone's feelings are with it. But I think that'll do it, y'all. I think that will do it for this episode of Still Loading. That is our conversation on Nightfire. Let's go to some plugs and everything. Mike and Chris, thank you both so much again for coming on the show. I really appreciate you giving your time and chatting with me about this amazing game for the last 2 hours. So let's go with plugs and social media and all that stuff. Chris, we'll start off with you. Where can the good people find you online, and is there anything you'd like to promote?
So you can find me on British Bond Addict. It's my James Bond account I've been running since 2020. It's kind of
on Instagram, just to be clear.
On Instagram, yes. The only place you can find me. I will say my content's died down a little bit, but we're about to have a resurgence because I have a new motor racing sponsor, Aventuro, and there will be some collaborations in my racing career moving forward. So if you're intrigued in motor racing, keep an eye open for that.
All right. Mike, what about you? Where can the good people find you online? Is there anything you'd like to promote?
Yes, well, the good people can find myself and my co-host Neil at Switch to the Past. We are on Instagram. For the most part, that's where we post our updates. We also have a lovely Discord where we talk about more stuff with the podcast. Switch to the Past podcast, all about Nintendo things for the most part, but video games in general. Yes, of course, we talk about the GameCube as much as we can. Wario World is going to be coming up at some point. It maybe has already gone live by the time this episode's out, maybe not. Wario World, The Long Dark coming up soon. Mario Tennis for the N64. Going to talk about one of the new Pokemon, or Pokemon Coliseum. Going to talk about that game for the release of Pokopia, which is coming out, I think, in March. So trying to do some relevant content this year. And of course, 2026 is the 25th anniversary of the GameCube. So we'll have some good GameCube content on the show later on in the year.
Can you confirm that I've literally just followed you right now on Instagram? I typed that in as you were saying it.
Love it. And I'm going to do the same to you too, because I want to get some good content for British Bond Addict. Thanks.
I appreciate that, Josh. Thank you for introducing me to Mike. This has been fantastic.
It's my pleasure. It's been I'm always happy to link friends up and have friends make new friends. This was a fun time. So for myself, of course, you can follow me on Blue Sky at stillloadingpodcast.com over there. On Instagram, I'm at stillloadingpod. On Twitch, I'm at stillloadingpod. I stream whenever the hell I'm able to on Twitch, so you never really know, but if you want to know when I go live, just give me a follow over there. If you want to support the show, the easiest way to do that is give it a 5-star rating or review on whichever podcasting app you use. It helps more people find the show, and it pleases the algorithm gods. You can also support the show over on Patreon, patreon.com/stillloadingpod. For only $1 a month, you get all the episodes a little bit earlier with better audio quality, as well as access to patron voting rights, which help guide the direction of the show. For $3 a month, you get everything at the $1 level, plus patron shoutouts, which you heard at the beginning of this episode. For $4 a month, you get everything I mentioned previously, plus 2 mini bonus episodes every month. Now there's over 100 of them, so there's a lot of them for you to catch up on. And finally, at the $5 level, you get everything. You get all the previous tiers, plus access to my monthly movie podcast, which right now is called Still Muppeting. It's the only Muppet movie podcast where me and a bunch of friends play the music, light the lights, and we talk about the Muppets on Still Muppeting tonight. And you can go check out all of our thoughts on Muppet movies over there. I'm doing that with my buddy Doug Leaf from the Nostalgium Arcanum podcast. And if you like conversations on movies, I've also covered that tier all of the James Bond movies called Still Bonding, which Chris was a very frequent collaborator on, and Mike did the Casino Royale episode on, so you can hear both of these wonderful guests over there for that. I also covered all the Fast and Furious movies. That was called Still Family, and who knows what we'll cover after Still Muppeting. We'll find out wherever the wind takes us, wherever the wind blows, or whatever the hell. I don't know. I'm losing the thread already, but that's all over at patreon.com/stillloadingpod. And that's it. That is all the time I have for you on this episode of Still Loading. Thank you all so much for listening. Mike and Chris, thank you once again for joining me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Josh.
And with all that said, listeners, I will see you all next time.
Intensity.